If you're looking to find the best business loans for a small construction business without a hassle, without being overpromised and underdelivered, overwhelmed, bombarded, and pressured, then you've come to the right video. Hi, welcome in. My name is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm a business funding expert, business loan broker expert, as well as pre-underwriter slash underwriter who's been able to help a lot of small construction businesses and even larger ones, medium-sized, get the right business loan for them in their business and businesses. And as people, I care about who you are and your best interests. So helping you in more ways than just funding is what I look for, and caring and making sure you do get the absolute best at the end of the day. So you're not stressing out about this when you leave your business or you take your business home with you every single day, waking up, it's stressful on your mind, just subconsciously and consciously feeling bad about things and whether you'll be able to sustain your growth or get into growth and expansion mode. Start from the very beginning as a startup, building. I don't want you to worry about that. So I'll be getting into the share screen in a second, going over a Google document. There are a lot of different funding types, and it's hard to say that for you without knowing like which one is best. So what I recommend, and I'll leave this down below in the description, is to go through my questionnaire. It'll be one of the very first links that it'll take you to a page. I'll try to show you here in time how it looks. And you'll come to a page where you can select from one of two options. Select the one that fits you, and then you will come to a form that I put together, and it'll ask questions on name, credit, revenue, collateral, if any, and then please describe your financial needs field. It'll be at the very bottom. So let me know about your problems, what you're trying to resolve, what you need the funding for, your ROI expected, cash flow projected, profitability as well. Those things are very helpful for me to understand like what type of loan would be best suited for you and your needs. You might need equipment. You might need it for more shingles if you're in roofing or solar panels installments. Another distributor is coming in, or there's something else that you need excavators, you need dump trucks, or you have these contracts that you need and you need the funding for, and you need all the materials, tools, and supplies. You probably tried somewhere else and it hasn't worked. You're trying to figure this all out. And I'll also get into reasons why you're getting disapproved or you could get disapproved. But all that will be down below. Get started on that. I'll even give you a free 6-step pre-approval lending checklist to help guide you. And even if you're not in construction and you wanted to start another business, go down through that form and you'll find that that's the best place to get started with me. And what I do is I put together a very highly personalized and customized email response with a PDF included on your best funding option and options. I know how to pre-underwrite. It's not an application. No, I am not a creditor. It is safe and secure between you and I. And I'm very analytical, cerebral. I'm an introvert. And I look at a lot of bank statements, tax returns. I've looked at a lot from construction companies of different shapes and sizes, categories, subcategories, and manufacturing, retail, restaurants, many others. And I'm very transparent. I'm very loyal. I'm a Libra if that says anything. I'm just very confident and certain. I don't pressure anybody. I'm not a salesperson. I come from, in fact, an academic background, studied sociology a bit. Then I played Division I soccer for a little bit, got into chemical engineering since I have a very system and math brain. And for some time I did that, and then I wanted to make a big decision on getting into a business. So I went to the business side, got my degree there. I worked in construction. I did manhole sewer rehabilitation for some time, done other roles in the shop. I've done manufacturing with aerospace, with machining, pumping out tooling. Come from a manufacturing family. My dad is he was a grinder at one point. He's in CNC machining now. My mom's in healthcare. My younger brother is in real estate at this time. And I, along with my business funding expertise, I've been a digital entrepreneur for many years, building out multiple businesses in different spaces. So I understand how to get funding for them first and foremost, and all the trials and tribulations that you'll go through. And you don't want to do just simple Google search. And I'll show you what most people end up doing and what not to do. But that's kind of what I wanted to share with you on that point. There's equipment loans. So with 1 to 5 years, if you wanted to finance, lease to own, sell, lease back. If you had collateral in commercial vehicles, as a construction company and you're not getting enough of your account receivables, accounts payables, or you're having trouble, you need to bridge that gap, perhaps you can do a line of credit for ongoing projects or another project coming up where you need an ample supply of like 10,000 for materials and supplies. It's different equipment than you're used to. You have offshore equipment that's not coming in quick enough domestically, internationally. I can drop so many examples of where I've already helped get a lot of clients funding and those who couldn't. And why people would go through me, just so you know this, a quick point here, and I'll get into the share screen, is because of who I am. I'm not a talker, I'm a listener, very introverted, and I work with the best lenders directly. And there's also indirect organizations, brokerages, and it depends on your file on where it's best to get submitted. And I will help you out in the best way possible. You have to be careful in this industry where it's cutthroat. And I invest into people. I look into people's characteristic traits, and if that's somebody really I wanted to work with, and you should do the same thing and align with somebody as a person first, and then in business. And I'll leave a story to me down below so you can learn more about myself, but also fill out the form to get started, and I'll give you more information. So let me get into this share screen. And what you're seeing here is just one of many services. This is a $10,000 same-day funding without credit checks, plus defaults are considered, and also more funding, best funding sequence to get the right lender. Before I go into the details just underneath this image, yes, there's equipment loans to finance excavators, dump trucks, or anything else that you need, really, in the construction and non-construction space for 1 to 5 years to finance and to give you a better long-term repayment. If you will be having ongoing needs with that equipment, appreciation, depreciation, things you need to look at with leases and agreements, and for how long you plan to have certain projects and how long you'll need to use that equipment for those projects, then it makes sense to do a 1 to 5 year as opposed to getting a lump sum towards equipment, towards like a term loan or a cash out advance, or even just doing like a construction loan where you need to do a build. And I have that, by the way. So if you do need help with like construction builds, let me show you here in a second. I'm trying to move my floating meeting controls. I don't think you can see that on your side, but it gets in the way sometimes. And so over here, I have a ground up new construction if you needed to do that as well. I help out also many real estate investors with fix and flips, ground up construction projects to then commercial property. There's residential stuff. And I give you all the details. I'll try to link you to this down below. There's a video there. Then if you clicked here, you would then be brought over to this next page where you can fill out your details there, and I'll better understand by analyzing that. There's also the general real estate form if you're looking for real estate for property purchases or refinances in the real estate private lending space, or we do it through creative credit backed funding with 0% interest business credit cards. And there's another way to do that. And this is the form I was talking about right here. So if you select from one of these two buttons, whichever one applies to you, some of my results right there. There's many more, but I can only fit a handful. So you get a free approval checklist and then a 900 or so plus exclusive free grant documentation list that many would pay for. And that's being updated and rotated monthly. And maybe 900 more or less changes, but it's amazing stuff that you can check out as well. So let's say you're a non-startup. Okay, let's select that. If you're a startup, you select that with less than 3 months usually. And then you'll fill out this form right here. And then from the thank you page, you can even get started. And from there, it might have a thank you page. There'll be like a quiz questionnaire you can enter for creative credit back funding if you qualify for 0% interest business credit cards and or personal cards, personal loan, other mixes. So check that out. Maybe that changes over time, but you can get started right away, and I'll look at everything on the back end with the team and so much more for review. But that could work out too. You have a line of credit, equipment financing, ground up construction, anything real estate. There are SBA loans, but you don't want to use that for any like properties and for an investment property or a household type of situation. And you have to be careful with those. A lot of construction companies are having a tough time getting approved for an SBA loan, as many other businesses in this market. So there are bank term loans as well as an alternative that I've helped out many people get with online banks that are actually a lot better than you see with a physical traditional location. Or if it's a physical traditional location, I can help with that too, facilitate that for whatever reason you can't get something through your own bank and you possibly could over here. So this one on this side is 10,000 same day funding. So the requirements to this is revenue. So 3 things you'll always hear me talk about in videos: revenue, credit, collateral, or cash flow, credit, collateral, the 3 C's of funding. There's different words for it too. That just means, does your business already generate cash flow, revenue, depositing frequently, or just deposits? What's the cash flow look like? And they're going to base it off more of that than the credit. Credit is somewhat of an emphasis, With this lender, they don't look at any credit, but you have to be doing less than 15,000 on your lowest month in the last 90 days. And if you're in California and New York, that won't work because they're looking at 4 months of bank statements and they won't work within those states. It's becoming a little bit trickier for those states and others. And with new disclosure laws and things are always changing in this space. But that is that. And so if you are one of those businesses that does generate in less revenue, not like 15,000 and above, unless you were in California, New York, and some of these other states where it require 4 months of bank statements and you can't go to this lender, then you'd have to do at least a minimum of 5,000 on your lowest month in the last 4 months within those states. Other states, minimum of 15,000 plus within the last 3 months or so. And so we can look at that. Sometimes it's 15K though. And so this lender is going to base it off of your cash flow. And you can use your personal account for business. If you don't have any revenue in the business though, there is creative credit back funding with 0% interest business credit cards. I'll leave more information, but fill out the form down below. And you can get started with 0% on materials and supplies. And you want to get an ROI maybe 6, 7 months from now, but you want 0% interest or a line of credit that makes sense. It's harder as a startup to get those though. And it's harder to get a line of credit in general in this market right now. SBAs can be included, bank term loans as well. And advances are really the most popular. And these can be a higher rate, but you have to look at the benefit. What are your funds being used for? Does your benefit exceed your repayment? What's your ROI? 150, 200%? A lot of people want. You're probably only going to get 50% when you break even. How does it look like in 6 months? You can't carry on your projects after 6 months. You're going to be at a deficit. You're not climbing up at that point. Your ROI is not high enough. It's in your best interest if you can pay it off sooner. Okay. With the revenue you generate, the profits, other stuff that's going back into that payment. And so make sure you double, triple, you quadruple your revenue and your monthly revenue by taking this money, taking 20,000, paying back 27,000. Can you make 30,000, 40, 50, 60,000 plus with it? And what time frame? Other ones are a little bit longer if you don't think you're going to get a good ROI from this, but you have to have the revenue and the qualifications to that, or the credit with 0% or a personal loan is what another alternative that I help people with is if you don't want these advances and you didn't want a weekly or daily repayment, then you could go for a monthly on a personal loan, but you have to have good credit. We're talking 670, normally 680, but really it's 700 plus FICO Experian. Or I have other providers who look at 680 Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion, and there's more stuff to credit and your own personal income and other things that need to be accounted for. So this is a fairly new one. It's a great one, and it's an exclusive partnership that I have. I'll try to link you information to down below. And here are more details. Same day funding up to 10K. Approval amounts are 25 to 75% of your monthly revenue are the approvals. Rule of thumb, example, if you do 14,000 in monthly revenue, then the advance is 10,000. The higher the revenue, the closer you get to 75% of that. Lower, like your 5,000 and below, you're probably only getting 25 to 40%. If you're lucky, 40% for the most part of it. And so the average amount, and once I have more information, I'll be able to help you. And this is more of an automated sequence where it can be underwritten automatically where you connect your bank account. It's very safe and secure, trust me on this. And they're very reputable. Others are manual lenders, but you have to have more revenue and it takes more work to do that and more labor work and what you have to pay for that and the extensive work to look at files. So it doesn't make sense to always do that with higher risk with lower revenue. So just keep that in mind. Average pricing, 1.39 a dollar amount. So you see here, if you get 1,000, you pay back 1,390. Example two, you receive 10,000, you pay back 13,900 on 1.39. Now, this is the point where most people go, I don't think I can. Wow, that's absurd. Well, for you, but for someone else, they're taking 10,000 and making 20,000, 15,000. They're making more than what they're paying back. And maybe it isn't as soon. Maybe you thought in a year, but you only got 4 months, 5 months. This is like 3 to 6 months with these normally. Okay, well, what can I make in my fourth month? What will my ROI, what will my profit, what will my cash flow? Break down your net, break down your gross, break down your budgeting, and see if you need to move anything out. Cost of goods sold, cost of sales, your fixed and variable costs, operational, free cash flow. What are you looking at? Investment, cash flow. There's a lot of other stuff that you need to account for. Renegotiating contracts, getting paid much faster, 36-month terms, automatic weekly repayments only, no monthly options with these funders. And if you want a monthly option, personal loans and those stuff, again, fill out the form below and I'll show you all this all in one place. I'll guide you on where to look when you have that PDF. It's amazing stuff. You can reuse it over and over again too. Renewals are usually 16 weeks, which is 4 months. more so for clients at the 3K plus minimum revenue level, more or less. Personal checking account can be used for business. You can also have a business checking account. If you want more than 10,000, yes, there are funders out there that I work with, and I'll find that for you. So the form down below, if you haven't, that's the best place to begin. And if you have already, I'll get back to you. And if I already have, you'll know that. Very likely you will. And so if you wanted more, you were doing 30,000 a month, let's say between 20 to about 60,000. You're in construction. It's harder now in this industry right now to get you 200%. So maybe you start off with 40 to 45,000, maybe closer to 35 to 45,000. Can you put 35 to 45,000 to use right now? Think about, can you use this money perhaps to go towards a down payment for equipment? Can I use this for more materials and supplies that I wouldn't have had to complete, even if it's partial of the project and I come back and get more renewal, I can help you with all of that. And so you see here, online banking is set up. No FICO score check. California, New York usually get denied for laws. It's just something that's around now. Bank linking with Plaid, very reputable company. A lot of people and companies use. Make sure to have your credentials ready. Some banks haven't teamed up with Plaid. It just doesn't work. Note about 5% of banks or so in America don't link with Plaid, so you may be declined if your bank does not link. Check with your bank, see if they can add this, if they couldn't. Also, you might have to sign up with Plaid directly. Type in plaid.com or something similar to that. You'll be able to sign up with them. And sometimes that works if you have that. Qualifications, 3,000 in monthly revenue slash sales and 3K on your lowest month in the last 90 days. Again, like I said, if you don't have that revenue, if you're pre-revenue or low revenue or just complete, like just getting started, then credit is usually the route. Or if you offer up some kind of real estate for a collateralized secured loan. But it's ideal that we don't work that way. We try to do the creative credit back funding. Or if you have a friend or family member with them having better credit, that they can guarantee the credit for you on your behalf. Can they be a part owner of the business? At least 10%, I recommend, if they want to guarantee business credit cards at 0%, multiple with credit stacking that I can help with. If they don't, they can just go through a personal loan. They don't have to be an owner of the business to any degree, but a personal loan, they go in there and use their credit to help you. And then you guys can have an agreement with one another on that. 4+ months time in business, minimal non-sufficient funds, negative days, no more than 5 non-sufficient funds, negative days in any of the last 3 months. I see that so much right now in construction businesses. So yes, if that's you, you'll have to wait, and then we can come back to this. The current loan consideration, if you have a current capital advance, the amount you still owe will be taken into consideration and cause a reduction in your approval amount. Like anything, like don't expect that. Like there's renewals. One thing I do want to tell you too is, yes, again, like I said, I believe I mentioned this just to make sure. I'm at my younger brother's place watching his corgi dog, and so I'm sitting on a chair that I don't normally sit on, and the space you're seeing in here is not normally it if you see my other content. But I'm here for now, and this is not my favorite chair. It doesn't fit my personality or my characteristics. I like the more professional ones, the ones that are more cushiony, more good ergonomically, and I don't like these race car type ones. It's just my personality. But yeah, and so just wanted to make sure you knew that. So if you ever see another video, it's different, perhaps there. So how it works, you see that, and then up here, but current loan consideration. If you renew, that's one thing. When usually you pay half of it off. So if you have 6 months, the third month, by then we can look at renewing, or even earlier at times, depending on your payment frequency and your schedule. And then over here, you see 4+ deposits is always best, but we can look at less, like 2 to 3, sometimes even less. But just depends on where you are at in your industry, you're depositing, and what we call as a standard for each business. Like construction, we know, and I know very well because I've looked at a lot of bank statements and more, that tax returns and so much, like it fluctuates. Like one month you have 4, the next month you have 2, and then you're at 3, and then you're back to 5, and then you're now at 4, and then you're trending back and kind of fluctuating. Low, high, low, high, low. I see that a lot. How it works, as I mentioned, there are some examples. We won't go through all this since I kind of highlighted that more or less. But weekly off of 1,500 on a 1.45, that's $36 daily, but you're getting on a weekly 180 for this specific lender. Other ones, if you are in California or other states, it's usually going to be daily if your credit isn't good, your revenue isn't in good position. And to get weekly with these, normally you want to be generating 25,000 on your lowest month in the last 90 or 120 days, depending on your state. And you do want to have above 600 credits, 625 plus is ideal, with more than enough time in business, like 6+ months or so. Sometimes 4+, but usually 6+ months. You'll see that. Sometimes these things change, but that's normally a gold standard for it. So if you're asking that, can I take a daily? Can you? How do you deposit already? what comes in, cash flow, what goes out. And then personal loan could be in addition to this later on, or however you decide to do that, I can help you with. Overall total cost of financing, cost of the funds, kind of go over that here, different examples I draw upon. I won't go through all this because of time, how it would be hard to do some of this, and how you can get started on your application and everything there. So that's where I wanted to conclude this video. And just to recap, we went over how there are different types of loans for different needs that you have. I can better understand that by when you fill out this form right here. Or this is actually my site too, if you wanted to learn more about me. There's this, you can get access to the form from here as well. Why Viral Funding Solutions? There's more to this than just an entity. There's me, who you're getting. And so if you start here again, you can click on startup if you wanted to, but please describe your financial needs, expand on your use of funds, expectations, ROI, cash flow, problems, like be thorough because that gives us our energy and time back as well. And how I can help you streamline this and make it effortless, literally for you and I. So check that out. Let me know what your thoughts are on that, on what you're trying to use your funding for. And we went over, excuse me, different services like ground up construction, the form, the real estate form for any general working capital growth and expansion, and things you can do for different businesses. You can add both forms or more than two forms if you needed to, depending on your needs. There's equipment loans. There are financing, leasing, lease sell back. There's a lot of other stuff. Collateral, you can do cash out refinance on property. Usually work on the business side of this though, with a lot of it being commercial or any kind of investment real estate you own, fix and flips, rental property, other stuff like that. And we could do that based off of equity and loan to value. There's also land, developable land, collateral, uh, credits, as I mentioned, angel investors, private hedge funds. There are venture capitalists, microloans, grants. There's so much, but it just depends on what you need to do. Buying a business, perhaps. There's a lot I can guide you in, and I've been in this for a while. And you're getting me as a person, the loyalty. You're getting somebody who doesn't bombard you. I don't talk much. You're seeing me here because of a video, but I get it done. And my process, I've created systems, duplicatable systems, and I have my processes, my systems, the right amount of automation, not always in place though. Depends on what it is. So down below in the description, go ahead and check that out, fill that form out, and so you can learn more and I'll guide you. And if you enjoyed this video, I'd greatly appreciate you giving it a thumbs up and sharing it with others if you wish. You don't have to though. And if you have not subscribed, I'd greatly appreciate you doing so. And click that bell notification icon so you do not miss any future content I'll be coming out with. That is all for now. Oh, one more thing. As an alternative down payment to like construction loans, like some people are wondering, can they do that? If you try to go through the revenue-based route and you have enough revenue or credit, you can use that as a down payment or not as a down payment, however you decide. So I just wanted to give you some more ideas out there, but that'll conclude everything for me now. And I appreciate you. Thank you for being here today. And I will talk to you soon. Bye.